Hello again, St. Michael family. Monsignor Tim Chagru here. It is Sunday afternoon, May 17th, a beautiful day. We're 2 months into our shutdown as we cooperate with public health authorities confronting the coronavirus pandemic. These remarks I made both this morning at our 9:30 live stream Mass and last evening at our 5:30 Mass. As many may be aware, the Archdiocese has now issued guidelines governing preparations for a return to regular church participation to occur in 3 phases. In phase 1, Cardinal Tobin has authorized churches to reopen for private prayer as long as care is taken to maintain social distancing and other mandated limits. Phases 2 and 3 will see a gradual return to Mass, but the dates for implementing them have not yet been set. Accordingly, St. Michael Church will open daily for private prayer beginning tomorrow, Monday, May 18th, from 1 to 3 p.m., with the following restrictions in keeping with state and local regulations. First, no more than 10 people will be permitted in church at any given time. This number includes 2 staff members or volunteers who will be present to monitor compliance with social distancing. Second, we kindly ask that visits be limited to no more than 15 minutes out of consideration for others who may wish to enter to pray and who may be standing outside waiting for their opportunity. Third, access to church will be through entrances to the front vestibule, the doors facing Alden and Milne Streets opening into the vestibule, as well as by the elevator entrance from the Mary Garden. There will be no access to church from the bell tower entrance on Milne Street. Wearing a face mask is required, and it must remain in place for the duration of your visit. Social distancing must be observed with 6 feet of space between persons. Fourth, visitors may use the pews between the vestibule and the baptismal font. The pews have been marked off, indicating appropriate distancing. Access to the altar and sanctuary area is not permitted due to the need to reduce the area requiring cleaning and to allow the equipment needed for our live streaming of Mass to remain in place without creating a hazard for visitors. The side shrines will also be off limits again to reduce the need for extra cleaning. Fifth, although hand sanitizer will be available at the entrances to be used upon entering and leaving, we encourage you to bring your own hand sanitizer as well. You may also consider wearing gloves. Volunteers and maintenance staff will wipe down surfaces regularly, but please realize that even though we will take reasonable measures to clean the church thoroughly and often, like all public places, it is not a sterile environment. There is a risk involved in coming into any enclosed public space. If you are not feeling well for any reason, or are in the high-risk category, or have doubts and concerns, please consider staying home for your own sake and that of others. God is everywhere. We know that He is close to us, even if we cannot be present in His house. Please remember that this time is when we're all asked to make a sacrifice. And that word means to make something holy for the sake of the common good. As Jesus linked the 2 great commandments, love of God and love of neighbor, so complying with the mandated or recommended precautions is an exercise of sound moral judgment, putting the good of all ahead of our personal desire to express our devotion in familiar ways. Sixth, please note that the church restrooms will be closed to reduce the need for cleaning after each and every use. Please take that into consideration before leaving home, realizing that there may be a wait before entering church to make your visit. I want to thank the members of the parish response team who have been Zoom meeting weekly for their advice and our assistance in developing and executing these provisions. I also thank the members of our pastoral council who have been so very supportive. The Archdiocese has also authorized making the sacrament of reconciliation available to others than just the seriously ill within all of the restrictions noted above. At St. Michael's, for the immediate future, confession will be available on Saturdays only, starting next week, May 23rd, beginning at 1 p.m. This will reduce exposure for penitents and other visitors, as well as for the priests. As conditions improve, adding other times might be considered. Confessions will be heard in the altar server's sacristy rather than in the smaller reconciliation room. Signs will direct penitents to approach by way of the Milne Street side aisle, maintaining a distance of 6 feet between persons, wearing a face mask, and so forth. 6 feet of distance must also separate the penitent from the priest, who must also wear a face mask. To maintain privacy, only one penitent at a time will be permitted to enter the hallway between the side aisle of church and the altar server's sacristy. Please note that the number of persons in church must be no more than 10 at any given time, including the priest and the staff or volunteer monitors and any visitors and penitents. I strongly encourage those wishing to receive the sacrament to consider carefully their need for confession at this difficult time to avoid inconvenience and alleviate long waits for themselves and others. I know many have been anxious to return to church for private prayer. I'm glad that we're now able to provide that opportunity, but I ask everyone's cooperation as we continue to struggle to maintain a balance between public health and safety and our desire to resume familiar religious practices. I also want to take a moment to comment with deep appreciation on the efforts so many are making to maintain their contributions to St. Michael's, whether by sending in weekly envelopes or making use of our electronic giving options. The Finance Council and I are extremely grateful for the many who have adopted our new parish giving option, which assures significant stability in our ordinary income. It is heartening to observe the loyalty of our parishioners, even in a time of great economic uncertainty, when resources for many have been reduced or curtailed. Our weekly offering, though it is well below our budgeted hopes, has been more robust and steady than was feared, and our Easter collection exceeded our budgeted target. I note with gratitude that the Archdiocese has temporarily suspended our monthly assessments, making it easier for us to focus on basic operational expenses. And we were also approved for a loan from the Paycheck Protection Program, making it easier for us to sustain our parish office, maintenance, religious education staff, and the faculty and staff at St. Michael's School, all of whom continue to work either from home or on a staggered schedule. I also want to acknowledge the thoughtfulness of parishioners who, especially in this difficult time when the usual morning rites are not possible, have designated St. Michael Church or School as recipients of memorial donations in memory of their deceased loved ones. Most recently, I note donations in memory of the late George Meister. Both he and his wife have themselves been generous contributors to St. Michael's for many years. Memorial gifts and bequests to St. Michael's are a very welcome source of funds that allow us to manage expenses beyond what our weekly offerings can support. I invite any who may be inclined to include St. Michael's in their estate planning to contact the parish office for further information. Finally, I cannot fail to mention my admiration for the members of our Salt and Light and Samaritan Ministries, our Religious Education Office staff, the Knights of Columbus, for their efforts to supply much-needed food relief to those served by St. Joseph's Social Service Center in Elizabeth and by Cranford Family Care, and who offer help to our homebound parishioners who cannot get out to shop or run errands. And to all of you, our parishioners, who've been so faithful in providing sandwiches and other items for distribution, thank you sincerely, and please keep it up. The need is great. A final word, this coming Saturday, May 23rd, will be a day of celebration for us here in the Rectory in St. Michael's, and particularly for Father Tom Quinn, as he observes the 5th anniversary of his ordination as a priest. We're grateful for Father Tom's ministry among us, and we hope it will remain for a long time. We certainly wish him all of God's blessings and a fruitful and happy ministry as he continues in service to God and his people. To one and all, as we move forward into phase 1 of our return to more normal church life, let's continue to pray for one another, observe all the prudent precautions. Thank you, stay safe, and God bless you.